What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the video replay analysis series on the channel. Today we have another replay to go over. This one is in a league, so it's going to be tournament style, and also there were comms involved, so that kind of makes things different. So I did point out that this will be a tournament, so it's kind of a different mindset compared to ranked. You don't, obviously, first and foremost, you don't want to be risky at all. You want to make sure everything you're doing is methodical and well thought out before you attempt to do something, and you want to communicate with your teammate fully. And I'll hopefully be able to point out some stuff in case there were miscommunications. But I'm not sure. Okay, actually, yes. This is around diamond level. I'm not sure exactly what diamond, but it is in the diamond range. So, alright, let's get started. Alright, so it comes back to the wanting to be careful. Going up for something like this, you know, his teammate completely overshot it. It's not too much of an issue in a rank like this because that guy still isn't up for the ball, but usually that would have been a pretty good opportunity for them to get a clear. So fortunately, he didn't get challenged at this point. So right here, I want to point out some things. So this guy right here, he's kind of far away from the ball. Now, of course, he could easily tackle you, but his teammates also pushed off. So also from this position, you can see that you see both of these guys in your field of view, but your teammate is nowhere to be found, which means that he can be somewhere off the screen behind you, back this way, or even back this way. So with that being said, you want to make sure that you can try to get a pass out to your teammate in this particular scenario. Nothing really else that you can do, because if you try to take possession of it here in terms of dribbling, this guy right here will probably try to tackle you. So if anything, this hit needs to be a pass out mid for your teammate. So you actually had some time to kind of adjust a little bit better. You didn't really need to rush it, and aiming more for something down here so you're able to hit the ball out more towards the center. And yeah, this guy, he was going for the challenge, but he backed off because you got there first, but still you did rush it a little bit too fast. So once again, in a higher rank, probably would have been better to be up for it a lot sooner, but in this case, it doesn't really matter. Actually, the best thing to do in this scenario, most likely to have been to let either you or your teammate catch the ball because they weren't challenging immediately. Hitting it away like this kind of throws away possession. However, they end up not being able to capitalize off that, as we can see right now. Yeah, that was almost a goal for you guys. Yeah, there's nothing really else that you could have done other than demo. I mean, you possibly could have kind of smacked the ball in a certain way to let it bounce more out to your teammate. But with that being said, going this fast at the ball from this angle, you probably would have pinched it like all the way over net, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because your teammate could have possibly came around and got it, but I'm not quite sure. Let's see where your teammate is. Oh. Yeah, he might have been ready for it. I still think he was a little bit too close and kind of pointing the wrong direction. But yeah, he might have been able to go for that pinch out. But yeah, nothing really much. Either a demo or a pinch out. Actually, yeah, because your teammate was so close to the net, he wasn't able to turn on the ball in time. So a pinch out probably would have been the best option. So if you're going to go this close to the ball, you want to try to meet it on the wall so you can get a pass out mid to your teammate. So come around here, the ball is heading down, you meet it, try to knock it somewhere like, I don't know, you might have been able to hit it like here, it would have bounced down, and then your teammate could have came in from here and shot the ball. But yeah, once you get this close to it, you really need to try to do something like that rather than just wait for it to roll all the way down, because the more you wait, the more of an opportunity they have to recover. Yeah, they were able to get ready for that ball. Alright, so I heard your teammate try to come up. I'm going to watch from his point of view real quick. So yeah, definitely something to be communicated. Now, in this case, you did have a better angle, but also in your point of view, you're currently in ball cam right now, so you can't see behind you. So you really need to use comms and audio cues to hear where your teammate is. So at this point, if you see he made a bad touch, call your teammate off and go for the shot. So just say like, I got it, or stay back, something like that. Yeah, you definitely want to avoid double committing, and especially in twos. That is what ruins a lot of teams. So now another thing I want to point out here, there's no need to rush this shot. If anything, dribbling the ball and getting closer to put a flick on, or even possibly fake it, would have been a lot better. You know, that guy that just made that bad hit, he just smacked the wall, and it didn't sound like he hit it with his tires, so he's probably still recovering. And in any case, you have your teammate somewhere over here that can challenge this guy, even if he comes up behind you to try to intercept. So yeah, really what you want to do at this point, take possession of the ball, try to flick it on net, don't throw away possession. So a couple things with this part. So ball came off for this long, especially when the ball is heading back towards your net like that, is kind of risky. If anything, I would have right here taken it off and turned it back on like as soon as I got over that turn, just so I can see what happens, because by the time last thing you saw of the ball was here when you cleared it, right? Now the ball comes off, come back, and then all of a sudden your teammate just made a bad touch and it's still heading towards your net. And you would have been able to see that whole thing play out and be more prepared for it had you had your ball cam on rather than leaving car cam on for that long. So, and when you're making a touch like this is definitely a panic moment. However, these guys don't seem to have any boost at all. So with that being said, instead of pushing it more towards your corner, try to get a hit more towards the middle so you can easily follow it off the wall, or possibly even have it bounce mid and then you just follow it yourself. That was a risky boost grab from your teammate. Yeah, had one of those guys been ready, that probably would have been a goal. Oh. Here are... Now, mind you, there's probably not any options challenging you guys. Yeah, so they kind of both backed off because they didn't really have boost. However, you're still not in a good position here. You want to kind of continue where you're going, but turn a lot sooner and be more mid rather than pretty much like right next to your teammate over here. So we'll see what yeah, that circle back just wasted a lot of time. And weren't able to get to the ball. So yeah, had you turned in sooner, stayed mid, all of that turning right there would have been completely cut out of the whole scenario, and you would have been in a better position to challenge the ball in case one of them had tried to challenge earlier. So you could have had an opportunity to get a goal here. Shot placement in this situation isn't really going to be helpful because he's got the goal covered pretty well. So even if you shot it out into this area, he probably still had a good chance of saving it. And it would have been hard to even shoot it into that corner over here. So what you want to do to get a lot of power, try to air roll into the ball so you can shoot more above the net, so that hit gets way more power and doesn't just immediately go down and start bouncing on the floor. Make sure you're avoiding those posts when you're trying to rotate out. If you do get caught on a post like this, well, in that scenario, all you really can do is drive off the wall. But other times, if you come off them, try to wave dash. Yeah, honestly, the most efficient way to handle something like this would have probably been to kind of backwards power slide, and then, you know, like backwards power slide back here, and then turn back over here. So you're kind of making a movement like this. Yeah, just avoiding walls. Anytime you go up the wall, you end up slowing down your car, and making wide turns on the walls like this was definitely slower than just slowing down a little bit and drift turning. You possibly could even do some sort of half flip in this moment, so back up, go this way, and then half flip. That probably would have been the most efficient. But yeah, just a couple more options rather than just eating the post. Alright, Alright, so definitely be careful about hitting the ball in front of the net like this. In this case, it was okay because he decided to pull off this way. But other times, if they would have been still heading this way, your best bet would have been to have it go into the corner. Yeah, these are the types of passes and twos that I warn people about, where it can be easily intercepted if the other team is paying attention for it. So definitely keep that in mind. So your teammate hit it here. Right, so this is more of a kind of comes down to being able to read bounces, but it's also just paying attention to their car. So if you see, he's just doing a simple backflip, and it's kind of on the corner, which can make it awkward, but just know for future reference, the way the ball is coming down, this bounce would have only carried it like slightly upward, and him hitting it backwards just carried it back this way. So yeah, and you also got a little bit too close. So your teammate hit it like right there. Getting that close, unless you're gonna pre-jump and try to dunk, you did get a little bit too close. If anything, at this point, I would have still been back near the mid boost, waiting for this guy's hit, because I know he's going to try to do something. I would have either been on the wall, like depending on how I think he's going to hit it, I would have either been on the wall or hanging around the mid boost, ready to turn in case he gets a clear more towards the net. But yeah, especially with your teammate being this close, you really need to make sure that whatever you do isn't going to result in both of you having to rush back to defense. Your teammate did come near post though. Yeah, he was just laying on the rotation. Those are always awkward, but it works out. Yeah, these are flicks that you can't really expect. Yeah, just he probably didn't even mean to get a flick that high, but. Okay, so making sure you're carrying your momentum in the proper direction will really help you out with overall speed of the game. This guy makes a hit. First of all, what you thought was far post has now become near post because of the balls being played that way. So if anything, at this point you need to start heading in behind your teammate, let him deal with it, and then once you see he's got the ball, you can start turning back in and heading down this way, because he's probably going to be heading either midfield or other side of the field. Now, the next point that I want to make is, you see how the ball is heading this direction? You want to also point your car that direction when you're turning. So you want to turn into the direction the ball is heading. So making a loop like this, instead of doing a much longer turn, that's going to change your momentum more and more as you do the circle. So it's a lot more efficient to just do a smaller turn that puts you already facing the direction of the ball, rather than doing almost a full 360 that changes your momentum so much that you're not going to be able to, or you're just going to lose all your momentum in the long run. Yeah, like there you came to pretty much a complete stop. Now in this case, It actually worked out. He was about to completely demo you. So that complete stop actually worked out. It's kind of crazy that it worked out, but it did. But usually you'd get punished for making a turn like this. So here, don't really need to flip into this. Just try to make sure that the ball is gonna roll up the wall, so you can kind of carry it out that way. Yeah, and you pretty much guarantee anytime someone challenges the ball in the corner like this, and your teammate's not really ready for it, that it's probably gonna bounce back out this way. So you can immediately on the wall start turning this way and kind of following it down. Well, it's kind of a hard perspective to see, so I'll just switch. Right, so turning this way towards the net. Yeah, you just don't want to. General rule of thumb in twos, I should have mentioned this a lot earlier. Spread out from your teammate, but stay with your teammate. So you don't want to be near your teammate this close. On defense, it gets a little bit in the gray area because defense can be a pretty chaotic time in the match, especially when they're pushed this far into your half. So some overlapping can start to occur, but the rest of the game you want to be adjacent to your teammate but not in their same area. So for instance, if they're near one of the mid boosts, you probably want to be in the middle. Or if they're getting challenged, you want to be behind them but not on top of them, just so you can be the next person in line. Now, if they win the challenge, of course, you can push back up into that passing position, but if you feel like they're about to get challenged and beaten, you can kind of go behind them a little bit. Because as the second man, or position 2, it's not cut and dry, like how the graphics show you. So like, you know, position 1, 2, and 3, it's more so that it changes a lot more, and it's never a perfect rotation, just because of all the variables that happen in a match. So yeah, so technically, as I was saying, as position 2, you have both the jobs of being a passing option and defense, so you have to be prepared to switch into either one of those at any given time. And you also have to be prepared to switch into position 1 at any given time. So so you're almost able to capitalize on this. Honestly, easiest way to make sure this is going on net, turn off your ball cam right before you hit it. I know it's an extra step in the whole like adjusting your car and, you know, flipping a certain way, but turning off your ball cam can give you a much greater angle, and it can help you adjust, like make those last second adjustments that you need, so you can ensure that it's going to go on the net rather than hit crossbar. One thing I will say, boost management has been great throughout this entire replay. I have yet to see any issues with it. You know, we're only halfway through, so if something does happen, I will point it out. But other than that, it's been... Ooh. Here comes back to the point that I made earlier about being with your teammate, but if you think they're getting challenged and they're probably going to lose it, that you kind of want to stay behind them. So here you even pushed too far out at this point for the passing option. If he were to pass you at this point, it could have been very easily intercepted by this guy. But in any case, you really should have been more like back here, ready for this 50. Actually, really more so like back here. But you know, just in this area, just being ready for this 50. And then it's your teammate's job to then become the passing option if you're able to take back control of the ball. So your teammate just didn't have boost. If anything, this is a very awkward position to be in, because you want your teammate to do something with the ball, but at the same time, you're not really completely safe. So best bet, back up a little bit, get more towards net, just in case they make a really hard hit, so you have more time to react to it. And yeah, when you're doing turns like that, make sure you're power sliding so you can turn a lot faster. Make sure you're not overcommitting with your teammates. I don't recall if I said it earlier, but I'm saying it now. You know, your teammate's hit right here was supposed to be a pass. However, he's having trouble recovering, and you need to not only see that in game, but also communicate that in comms. You can say, I'm stuck, or rather he can say stuck. You know, just something like that. To make your comms efficient, you want to use short phrases and like one word to describe a situation. But yeah, that was just a little side note for comms. But yeah, here something should have been said, and also you should have been paying attention to him, how he landed on the wall, and as you're like being teammates with this guy, you should also know his play style. So if you see that he ends up in a certain situation like this, and you know that he has trouble recovering fast, then you can use that to your advantage in this situation and be like, okay, I need to kind of hang back, buy some time, wait for him to recover, so I can safely challenge the ball rather than immediately putting myself right on top of him, and they could very well potentially get a clear that goes back into our half. Yeah, try to take the 50 on this rather than hit it up this high. It just makes it really awkward for both you and your teammate, and I'm pretty sure I heard for it. Yeah, something else to be said in callouts: always make sure that you're not double committing. Tell your teammate if you got it or not. I mean, alright, so in this case, a couple of different things could happen. Either your teammate hits this, you can let him follow it, or you call out or he calls out and tells you to take it, then you can follow up the ball because you are closer in this scenario. And if he wants to be the passing option in this case, then he'll call it out. But yeah, definitely call something out like this because this is really awkward. And yeah, so I'm not really sure what was said at this point, but it seems like he let you go for it. So just definitely make sure you're calling that out as soon as possible, so it's a much faster transition rather than kind of hesitating because you don't know who's going to go for it. Patience. One thing I'll say to that is pay attention to the car. You can pretty much see that he was going to try to power shot that, and you actually could have double jump intercepted it, which would have probably been a goal because this guy was way out of position. This guy's momentum was carrying him back this way, and either you could have landed near it or your teammate could have easily turned and taken a shot on an open net. Yeah, best thing you can do at this point, pay attention to what he's going to do with the ball and start turning away because he's probably going to take a shot, push it out this way. This stems from game sense and getting used to how people play and seeing patterns in gameplay, which is something that you'll build over time. But personally, I can tell at this point that he's probably going to shoot it back into the corner, which is what he does. And yeah, just working on building that can help you position also. So once again here, you're a little bit too far away from your teammate. No really need to go get a big boost. You still have quite a lot of boost. So this is the first gripe I have about your boost. You have a lot right here, like more than enough. You can really even do a lot with 30, but you almost have 70, and you need to be more mid as a passing option rather than being all the way across the field where your teammate's getting 1v2'd right now. So you gotta pass one guy, now he has to get a pass. And because you went that far out, you weren't mid. So at this point, you were just completely out. Yeah, so once you see them start moving like this, you need to match their speed so you can effectively be careful with back passes unless you're communicating them. Alright, so here you need to try to read this rebound, or at least put yourself mid at this point, because him making this hit, alright, now he's heading towards your area, and he just shot the ball, and you know, even if that did go in, it's better to be there in case something happens, like they save it, rather than being all the way in this corner, because now both of you are in this area, which means that nobody is covering any other part of the field. So you need to make sure that you're able to read those rebounds. Depending on what diamond, I'm just going to take a shot in the dark and say you guys are somewhere between diamond 2, diamond 3. Being able to read these low backboard rebounds is really important. Like anywhere about like here should be pretty commonplace reads in that level of diamond. Now once you get up into like champ 2 area, champ 2 above, you start getting higher and higher on the backboard till eventually, you know, you can read all the way up here, read the bounce downs. But for now, somewhere around here should be able to read pretty efficiently. And yeah, make sure you're able to be there for that. Was really close. So yeah, you just got a little bit too far ahead in this case. Yeah. Oh, I think they put it in. Yeah, he dunked his teammate. Well, so you have God, I'm not sure how that. A lot of boost was used, but it really didn't seem like there was that much used. Well, in any case, like I said, air rolling into the ball would have given it more power, and God, I don't know how that much boost was used in that short of amount of time, but usually you would have had some boost left over that you could have adjusted a little bit better at the end to make a shot more on target. Because I'm like 90% sure that was probably going to hit the post if he hadn't redirected it. Ooh. So they decided to fake. Yeah. This... You can't really predict this because you can't base it off of any other kickoff opportunities. I'm not sure what game in the series this was, or if it was a best of one, if you haven't even played this team yet. But yeah, this is kind of unpredictable. However, there are some things you can do. The moment you see him start turning off like this, you can slow down your car and then try to dribble it. You almost were able to knock him. Oh. Came down to the teammate. Let's see. Yeah, just a misread. Could have been a easy clear. Yeah. Alright, so yeah, overall really solid boost management. I only had those 2 issues. And that is something that will become more efficient over time with that aerial. Positioning definitely needs work. I'm not sure if you're more of a 2s or 3s main. I'd assume you're a 2s main considering you're playing a 2s tournament, but again, I don't have that information. So yeah, just make sure you're sticking more with your teammate rather than being all the way across the field like that. But yeah, there's some hits, being ready for some of the passes and making sure you're not overcommitting, which is all stuff that you can either remind yourself of to work on and you'll just get with experience and time, or it's stuff that you can easily find a training pack. Even anyone watching this video right now can feel free to ask in the comments, and I'll put training packs in the description. Or the person that requested this replay analysis can hit me up on Discord, and I'll give you some packs for some certain things. But yeah, some of the hits, definitely make sure you're working on those. But yeah, other than that, it wasn't too bad at all. It really just came down to a simple misclear, which is, I want to say, due to probably anxiety from the 0 seconds. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope the person that I'm doing this replay analysis for really was able to benefit from this. And yeah, if you guys have any questions about the coaching or anything, just ask in the comments. I'll get back to you. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.